label with pride. So, are you defined by your stature, the color of your hair or your eyes, your age or ethnicity, the color of your skin or your genetic makeup? Or is it your interests, your expertise and experience, your passions, your job, where you live, or your friends? As equal members of the human race, let's consider how we are referenced, viewed, or addressed. I find it insulting. I cringe every time I hear Jen, my daughter, referred to as a learning disability. Why on earth are people like Jen referred to as he or she when they're standing beside you in the space? Why do they experience a sense of not being considered equal members of society, being marginalized, unworthy? We, society, routinely emphasize this reality with every inappropriate, unconsidered, thoughtless comment, however well meant. So welcome to my extraordinary world, fueled by positivity, empowered, informed, and emboldened by people with learning disabilities. I'm Sue Blackwell, co-founder of the multi-award-winning charity Dance Syndrome. I am a musician. My world is impoverished without making music. I am a mum on a mission, driven by a passion for social justice for people who struggle to be heard. I believe that everyone can contribute to society when valued and respected for the person they are. I love to walk, to camp, to sail, to be nomadic, all heightened by living the constraints of a main carer for 31 years, having had a daughter with learning disabilities born to me. For the record, I'm also an introvert by nature, which makes pontificating quite a challenge. 5'2" and blonde. But I don't think that really defines me. I find networking a real challenge, which is incomprehensible to me, as Jen, my daughter with learning disabilities, does it so naturally. I'm happily married to Malcolm, mum to 2 children, Jen and Anthony. All 4 of us are individuals with our own interests, hobbies, characteristics, support needs, living the life of our choosing. We support each other. But the world sees differently, creating an issue of identity. It sees 3 non-disabled people and 1 with learning disabilities. Jen carries the label learning disability, generally perceived as challenging, difficult, a person not amounting to much. Jen, however, is very proud of the person she is. Jen is a dancer, a dance leader, a flautist, and a friend, living life and loving life. She's the co-founder and director of Dance Syndrome. Her hearth is a sight to behold, strewn with numerous accolades and awards. Dance and winning awards means the world to Jen. Can you imagine? It's a heady experience for anyone to be recognised and valued for the unique person you are, but all the more so when you have learning disabilities. Until very recently, Jen was Miss Jennifer Blackwell. Not only has she been accepted and welcomed as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts, but most recently, Jen was recognised with the British Empire Medal, a BEM, for services to disabled people. That's pretty remarkable. So now she is Miss Jennifer Blackwell, BEM, FRSA. But what does any of this tell us? Has Jen changed? Do we, society, regard Jen any differently? Does Jen have any more right or less right to hold her own personal opinions? I would argue that Jen hasn't changed and has no greater rights than before. But society has been shaken awake by the art of the possible. I do have an extraordinary privilege. I have the best teacher. My teacher has learning disabilities. I am an informed, inspired, educated, led on a journey through life I could never have envisaged 42 years ago when Jen was born. As individuals, we inherit the genes of our parents. Our upbringing is impacted by their cultural norms. Malcolm and I believed that Jen had a right to be embraced by and belong in her community. As parents, I believe that we have responsibilities to do our very best for our children. As society, I believe we have a duty to support and embrace those who experience extra challenges, whether physical, mental, emotional, or intellectual. At just 10 years old, any hopes we had were dashed, and our fears confirmed. Jem was officially a problem. Put her in a home and have another child. Don't expect anything much of her. Jen has Down syndrome, the common version, trisomic 21, an extra chromosome in every cell of her body. Labels triggered the system of learned helplessness from the authorities. The label gave entitlement to the medics who surrounded us with negativity, wished us better luck next time, and painted a bleak future. The educationalists who marginalized and sidelined and labeled to an alternative universe, so-called special system, developed over decades, removing people with learning disabilities from their communities. The social workers who pick up the baton when they're labelled at 18, where the gatekeepers, they decide if the learning disability is profound enough for you to merit any support. They deflect people into further education to mitigate the costs to their budget. Then the invisible asylum of the care system awaits. Ultimately, social services and the NHS pick up the fallout for the rest of life. What a hideous system. The labels and the negativity create despondency, depression, obesity, mental health predicaments, helplessness and hopelessness for people with a learning disability, families, carers, and communities alike. But we weren't listening. What of the person within? Where to for Jen? Following her inclusive life through childhood. Leaving mainstream school with mainstream aspirations didn't help her. No one valued or wanted her. She didn't belong anywhere. Until we set up Down syndrome. 15 years ago, out of pure frustration. Since when, it's been an extraordinary adventure. Jen's message hasn't changed. For 42 years, she has always wanted to share her passion for dance and get the world dancing. She doesn't care who you are, where you come from, how old you are, how you present. She just wants to share the fun and get you involved. Put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Jen wants to devise and perform choreography, and now does so, along with Down syndrome at regional and community events and festivals, but also at big black tie events and award ceremonies. Why shouldn't Jen have the same opportunities as you and me to be herself and share her love and talents with others? Just because Jen has Down syndrome, why shouldn't Jen follow her dreams of being a dance leader in her community? Why shouldn't Jen and people with learning disabilities have access to support and encouragement to lead a life of their choosing and do what brings them joy in their lives? I stand here because of Jen, her dance, her focus and passion for life, and her learning disability. Without Jen, there would be no Down syndrome. But without Down syndrome to support them, Jen and her peers would be casualties of the system, out of sight and out of mind. So much talent wasted. I do have the best teacher. My teacher has learning disabilities. So we're inviting you to believe in the possibility of creating a different society where every person matters, no matter who they are, what they look like, or what their perceived abilities are. We believe everyone can contribute with joy in their life to their family and community. I want to challenge and change perceptions of what's possible for people with a learning disability. I want you to be energized, to think differently about leaders and leadership from unexpected places. At Down syndrome, diversity is our norm, inclusion is our bedrock. There are no barriers, hurdles to clear, or glass ceilings to break through. Everybody matters and has something to offer to the conversation. Every person brings their unique assets and talents to the table, taking from it what they need to nourish their soul, to flourish and thrive. Down syndrome will always be grounded in the ethos that everyone matters. We are in demand. We are contributing to society. People are finding the support they need, whether it's dance, a social outlet, or just a fun activity with a friend. People with and without learning disabilities, carers and parents are seeing what's possible for everyone. Our unique business and delivery model is being recognised for the impact it's making. Jen and Down Syndrome have both won numerous awards. It's really not normal. We're recognised as leaders of change, creating an impact wherever we go. We make a difference through our workshops and training programmes across all sectors. At universities, we get under the skin of undergraduates before they embark on their careers, influencing and changing their perceptions and assumptions about people with learning disabilities, delivering seminars they will never forget. We want to continue to transform the lives of people who are quite often, and most often, the forgotten ones in society. What we've done and what we do is considered extraordinary, but to us, it's ordinary. It's who we are and how we think. Now we want to reach every corner of the world. This is an expensive, challenging, and complex model, but the rewards for individuals and for society at large, both now and in the future, are immense. Together, we make a difference. So my call to action to you as an individual, I ask you to recognise that behind every person with a learning disability is a family member or a carer, and it's a really tough job. But you can help. You can cross the road, reach out, engage, support, empower that person or their family. You can go to the trouble to get to know them better. You can make the effort, recognising they may well not be able to for themselves. In your personal or your professional life, I invite you to bring your unique assets and talents to the table, experience the joy of Down Syndrome, to join Malcolm and me spreading the message of hope and show the world you care. Marginalised people and people with learning disabilities matter just as much as you and me, because everybody matters.